example with the help of Euclid's division lemma and with the help of Euclid with some logic, I am going to find out that 20, and that logic in turn represents the utilization of Euclid's division lemma, and it gives us a step-by-step procedure. See, now look at the problem once again. We are going to find out the maximum capacity of the measuring jar, so which can measure the milk completely. Initially what we have two cans, can 1 and can 2. I need to measure the milk of can 1 and milk of can 2 completely with my measuring jar. I don't know the capacity of this measuring jar. I need to find that. See, first what I have to think. See, the second can contains 100 liters milk. The first can contains 60 liters milk. For suppose, if the capacity of my measuring jar is 60 liters, what will happen? If the capacity of my measuring jar is 60 liters, see, it is easy to measure this 60 liters with the 60 liters measuring jar. Then what you say about this 100 liters? We can measure only 60 liters of that 100, but still we remain with 40. That in the sense 60 liters we just measure using my measuring jar, but we left with 40 liters there. This 40 is the remaining milk in the can. That in the sense, if the capacity of the measuring jar is 60 liters, it is not correct. It won't help us to measure the milk completely. So because this 40 liters is the remaining one. So the capacity of the measuring jar is not 60. Then think a while. See, what will be the capacity of the measuring jar? Since here 40 liters remained here, see the remaining milk is 40 liters, then I think whether the capacity may be 40. And if the capacity is 40, what will happen? See, if the capacity is 40, the 40 liters capacity measuring jar for sure measures this 40 liters. But what about this 60 liters? What about this 60 liters? Think about the first can. There are 60 liters in the first can. If you measure these 60 liters with the capacity of 40 liters measuring jar, it measures 40 liters, but still you left with a milk of 20 liters, right? See, that capacity, if it is 40, if you measure the milk of first can, it remains a 20 liters milk here. So that in the sense, 40 liters measuring jar also not helps us to solve the situation, not helps us to measure the milk completely. Now what I have to do? And since here 20 liters milk remains in the first can, I will take a measuring jar of capacity 20 liters. If you take a measuring jar of capacity 20 liters, for sure it measures this 20 liters, and for sure since it is 40 liters, for in 2 turns the measuring jar will measure this 40 liters. Because my measuring capacity of the measuring jar is 20, and for sure it measures this 40 again in 2 turns, this 60 again in 3 turns. At the end, 20 liters measuring jar helps us to measure the milk of 2 cans completely, right? And now see what we did here. See, in the first step what we did, if my capacity of the measuring jar is 60, 1 turn helps us to measure and 40 remains there. See, if you express it in terms of the Euclid's division representation, see 100 liters can be expressed as, we are using what? 60 liters capacity measuring jar at first. At first we are using 60 liters capacity measuring jar, and then we are using 40 liters capacity measuring jar, and at the end we are using 20 liters capacity measuring jar. If you use a measuring jar of capacity 60 liters, in 1 turn it leaves a milk of 40 liters here. So 100 is equals to 60 into 1 plus 40. Is it right? The capacity of my measuring jar is 60 now at present, at first. Since its capacity is 60 liters, in 1 turn it measures 60 liters, but we left with 40. That is nothing but 100 is 60 into 1 plus 40, right? And in the next case what we did, I think that if the capacity is 40 liters, if the capacity is 40 liters, what happens? If the capacity is 40 liters, if you try to measure the milk of this first can, it measures again in 1 turn, it measures 40 liters, but still we left with more 20 liters. So in the second case, we are thinking about measuring this 60, both are 60, right? We are thinking about this 60 liters with a measuring jar of 40 liters, then we can express it like 60 is equals to 40 into 1 plus 20, right? Still we left with more 20 liters, right? And now if I consider the measuring jar of capacity 20 liters and the 20 liters measuring jar, for sure it measures the remaining milk and it measures this 40 liters also in 2 turns. Is it right? Since my capacity is 20 liters now. So this 40 liters this 40 liters milk I can measure with 20 liters jar in 2 turns, and I left with no milk in this case. That in the sense, at the end I have the remainder 0, I have this value as 0, and this 20 will represent the required answer, and this 20 will represent the maximum capacity of the measuring jar. That in turn represents, this 20 is nothing but the highest common factor of the numbers. And if you look at these representations, all these representations are nothing but of the format A is equals to BQ plus R. All these representations are of the format of Euclid's division lemma. If you look at this, if you compare every format with the Euclid's division lemma representation, A is equals to BQ plus R. In the first case, what is A and what is B? In the first case, A is 100 and B is 60. And think about the second case. For the second case, what is A and what is B? And for the second case, my A is this 60. This divisor of the first case will become the dividend of the second case. And in the second case, this 60 is my A and this remainder 40 is my B. And now if you apply the Euclid's division lemma statement or such representation for 60 and 40, it looks like this. Again, here also the remainder is not 0. And now if you apply the same Euclid's division lemma representation for this 40 as A and for this 20 as B, at the end you have this representation that 40 is equals to 20 into 2 plus 0. And at the end we know that this 20 is our required answer, and at the end you conclude that if the remainder is 0, then in that case the divisor value is the HCF of the given two numbers. So as we discussed, finding the maximum capacity of the measuring jar is nothing but finding the HCF, and we found that HCF of the two numbers 60 and 100 is 20. See, just to explain the procedure how the Euclid's division lemma involves in finding the HCF, we took an example. Now just you think about the numbers 60 and 100. To find the HCF, we need to apply Euclid's division lemma in 3 cases. At the first for 100 and 60, and then for 60 and 40, and then for 40 and 20. See, for the second case, the 60 will become A and 40 will become B. And for the third case, this 40 will become A and this 20 will become B. And this is the representation based on Euclid's division lemma. At the end, here since the remainder is 0, that in the sense we need to proceed like this. We need to represent every numbers in such a manner till to get a remainder as 0. And if the remainder value is 0, if the value of R is 0, then in that case the divisor number, this 20 like, the divisor number is mentioned as the HCF of those two numbers. For our convenience, now I am going to represent these three representations in our regular division process. For suppose 100 is equals to 60 into 1 plus 40, and I can represent it like this. If you divide 100 with 60, and then this one is nothing but 60 ones is 60 and the remainder is 40, right? So this is the division representation for this Euclid's division lemma representation. And what you say about this 60 is equals to 40 into 1 plus 20. And if you represent it using division, see, I say that 60 when divided by 40, and see 40 once is 40, you left with a remainder of 20. And then at the end for the third representation, see, we are dividing this 40 with 20, 22 is 40, and you left with a remainder 0, right? See, think once again these three divisions. In the first case, this dividend and divisor are the given numbers. Among those two numbers, you need to take the larger number as dividend and the smaller number as divisor. You need to proceed the division. See, the first division is over, right? And for the second division, what we are doing? For the second division, this remainder will become like divisor, right? This remainder will become divisor, and this the divisor of the first division will become dividend. We need to observe how the divisor is becoming dividend, how the remainder is becoming divisor. And coming to the third division to the second division to the third division, here 20 is the remainder and it becomes divisor of the third division. Here 40 is the divisor and it becomes dividend of the third division. And at the end, since the remainder is 0 in this case, we need to stop the process. If the remainder is not 0, we need to continue the process. At the end, if the remainder is 0, then in that case, the divisor of the last division is mentioned as the HCF of those two numbers. right? See, in solving the problems, usually we will combine all these things. For suppose I may represent it like this. For example, I have 100. If you divide 100 with 60, 60 once is 60, and I left with 40. Then, see, I will continue the second division with by attaching with the first division. See, 40 will become what? Divisor. This 60 is the dividend for the second division. So, take this 40 as the divisor and write 60 here, and you continue. 40 once is 40, you left with 20. And now, this remainder is the divisor, and you need to take this 40 as the dividend. Then in that case, you need to divide 40 with 20. 22 is 40, you left with a remainder of 0. And at the end, since the remainder is 0, the last divisor, 20, is our HCF of the two numbers. So at the end, see, we usually to find the HCF, we go with this procedure till to find a remainder of 0. But in examination, we need to represent that division using this Euclid's division lemma representation. Okay, so this Euclid's division lemma representation is meant for the examinations, and you need to write it like this. But for a check, you need to proceed in this division manner also. So I will give you 1 or 2 problems related to this finding HCF of those two numbers. Now, the generalized procedure to find the HCF of two numbers a comma b, which gives us by Euclid's division lemma, and we call it as Euclid's division algorithm. As I mentioned you, algorithm is a step-by-step procedure which helps to complete a task, and here these are the steps to calculate the HCF of two numbers which develops using Euclid's division lemma. For suppose I have two numbers a comma b to find the HCF. As we discussed here, first of all, we need to apply Euclid's division lemma for these two numbers a and b. If you apply Euclid's division lemma for a and b, the representation is like this. A is equals to bq plus remainder. That remainder I mentioned it as r1 here. And now after applying Euclid's division lemma for the two numbers a and b, a is equals to bq plus r1, and we know that this r1 value is in between 0 and b, that's a part. And now you just think about this r1. What is the value of this r1? You have two chances. Either the r1 value is not equals to 0, or the r1 value is equals to 0. If this r1 is equals to 0, then directly you have a chance to announce that b is the HCF of these two numbers. As I mentioned in the previous example, if the remainder is 0, then in that case the divisor value is mentioned as the HCF. So if this r1 is 0, this b is directly the HCF of those two numbers a and b. Right? So if r1 is equals to 0, b is our answer, b is the HCF of those two numbers. And if r1 is not equals to 0, what to do? If r1 is not equals to 0, we need to again apply the Euclid's division lemma representation for the numbers b and r1, right? See, this remainder r1 will become what? See, the divisor, and this divisor b will become like dividend. So if you apply Euclid's division lemma for b and r1 here in this case, and if you apply the lemma for this b and r1, you will get that b is equals to r1 into some q plus another remainder, some r2, right? And now again you need to think about this r2, whether it is 0 or not equals to 0, right? Whether it is 0 or not equals to 0. If this r2 value is 0, then you have a chance to announce that HCF as this divisor value r1. And if that remainder value is not equals to 0, you need to apply the procedure again. And for that procedure, you need to apply division lemma for what? r1, and r2 you need to apply division lemma. Like that you need to proceed, and at the end, after a certain stage, you will get that the remainder as 0. Then in that case, this divisor number is mentioned as the HCF. And this is the step-by-step procedure which is useful to compute the HCF of two numbers, which generates by using Euclid's division lemma. We call this procedure as Euclid's division algorithm. And now just have a look at the screens, and the screen shows us a step-by-step procedure to find the HCF of two numbers, Euclid's division algorithm. And the step 1 shows that applying Euclid's division lemma for a and b, and it gives us that a is equals to bq plus r1 as we discussed on the board. If r1 is equals to 0, b is the HCF, and if r1 is not equals to 0, we need to apply the lemma for b and r1, right? And then we need to continue the process till the remainder becomes 0. Here, at last, if the remainder is 0, then the last divisor will be the HCF of a and b. right? See, we have a problem on finding HCF of the numbers. So I am going to find the HCF of the numbers 300 and 550. We have many chances, many ways to find the HCF of 300 and 550. Listing factors, finding HCF, but it is not included in our syllabus. So we need to find the HCF of these two numbers using Euclid's division lemma. So to use Euclid's division lemma, at each and every step, we need to apply the lemma and we need to represent the given numbers in that representation. But some of you may feel bit difficult in representing directly. So for that, first of all, I am moving with the long division process, and after that, see, we need to convert each and every step of that long division process into the representation of Euclid's division lemma. See, in examination point of view, as per the prescribed syllabus, we need to solve this question just by using Euclid's division lemma and by giving different representations according to the Euclid's division lemma. But before going to represent, I am moving with the long division process. So we need to find the HCF of those two numbers, 300 and 550. So the larger number, you just take it as dividend, and the smaller number, 300, is the divisor, and we need to divide. See, 300 once is 300, and you left with a remainder of 250. Now, see, for the first division is completed, one step is over. Then the remainder is not 0 here. So we need to move for the second step. If the remainder is 0, then there ends the problem. This number will become the HCF. But here it is not 0, so we need to move for the second step. And for the second step, this 250 is the divisor, and this 300 will become dividend. So we need to represent it like this. 250, this is the divisor, and 300 is the dividend. And now, see, 250 once is 250, you left with 50, right? And this is again not 0. If it is 0, there ends the process. Since it is not 0, we need to move with one more step, and for the next step, this 50 is the divisor, and that 250, the divisor of the second division, is the dividend. If you proceed, 55 is 250, and the remainder in this case is 0. At the end, after third step, the remainder is 0. Since the remainder is 0, then there ends the process, and we have a chance to announce this 50, the divisor of the last division, as the HCF of the numbers. And now, we have to express each and every step of this long division process using Euclid's division lemma, right? And first of all, see, apply Euclid's division lemma for 300 and 550. If you apply Euclid's division lemma for the initial numbers like 300 and 550, that representation is like this. 550 is equals to 300 into 1 plus 250. Here the remainder is not 0. And then you need to apply Euclid's division lemma. We need to apply lemma in the second case for, see, this 300 and for this 250. This 300 is the new dividend, and this 250 is the new divisor. And we need to apply for what? 300 and 250. And if you apply for 300 and 250, that representation is 300 is equals to 250 into 1 plus 50. Still the remainder is non-zero. Then we need to apply the lemma once again. And in the last case, see, you need to apply lemma for the numbers 250 and 50. And if you apply again the Euclid's division lemma for the numbers, what? 250 and 50. Is it right? This 250, the divisor of the second case will become dividend for the third case. 50, the remainder of the second case will become divisor of the third case. And if you apply, then it becomes like 250 is equals to 50 into 5 plus 0. And at this case, since the remainder is 0, the divisor of this case 50 is mentioned as the HCF by the Euclid's division algorithm. This step-by-step procedure is Euclid's division algorithm, and the behind logic for this Euclid's division algorithm is the Euclid's division lemma. And this is the way to find the HCF of two numbers using Euclid's division algorithm. Look at the slide on the screen. It contains few questions related to finding HCF of two numbers. You need to try those questions using Euclid's division lemma. It gives you much idea related to that Euclid's division algorithm and Euclid's division lemma. In this mathematics class, we learnt about Euclid's division algorithm, and whereas in the previous classes, we learnt about Euclid's division lemma. and there ends the concept related to the Euclid's division lemma and algorithm. And in the next mathematics class, we are going to discuss fundamental theorem of arithmetics.